Pat Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
Welcome. Great to have you with us. 888-933-93. Pat Unleashed on Twitter. World continues to spin out of control. So that's great. Very strange stuff going on too. Like the praising of Vladimir Putin as he goes into the Ukraine or into Ukraine. I guess it's the Russians who attached the to Ukraine because it was like a standalone, and then they made it sound like I don't know.
They're trying to make it sound like a region.
Yeah. Yes.
As opposed to an independent sovereign country.
Exactly. Like the Rocky Mountain region or, the southeast or the southwest United States. The Ukraine. It was to belittle them and to make it part of Russia. Anyway, why have conservatives seemingly, or so many of them anyway, seemingly adopted Vladimir Putin as a guy that they like? Russia as a country that's a friend? I don't. It's strange to me. Strange. Even former President Trump weighed in on the invasion yesterday and called Vladimir Putin's maneuvering genius. Lamented that the United States doesn't have a similar peace force on its southern border. Now, I agree with that part. Yeah, I can kind of go with that. But the praising of Putin, especially at this time, seems maybe not prudent. On Monday, Putin recognized the breakaway Ukrainian regions of Donetsk and Luhansk as independent and used this as a pretext to send peacekeeping forces into the regions.
Okay.
In what's a violation of Ukraine's sovereignty. President Biden announced sanctions against Russia in response.
Oh, he woke up yesterday.
Yeah.
Finally got around to doing that.
Yeah, I think it was around 11:30, 12. So he was appearing on Buck Sexton's show yesterday. And Sexton asked Trump, what went wrong here? What has the current occupant of the Oval Office done that could have been done differently? Well, what went wrong was a rigged election. Trump replied. Of course. Trump said Biden shouldn't be in the White House. That's true. And that he has no concept of what he's doing. And that's also true, I believe.
You could apply that to anything.
To absolutely every issue he faces. He said, I went in yesterday and there was a television screen and I said, this is genius. Putin declares a big portion of the Ukraine. Putin declares it as independent. Oh, that's wonderful. So Putin is now saying it's independent. A large section of Ukraine. I said, how smart is that? And he's going to go in and be a peacekeeper. That's the strongest peace force. We could use that on our southern border. That's the strongest peace force I've ever seen. There were more army tanks than I've ever seen. They're going to keep the peace all right.
Oh, boy.
No, but think of it, he went on to say.
Oh, no. Wait, he wasn't done?
No.
Oh, no.
Here's a guy who's very savvy. I know him very well, very, very well. By the way, this would never have happened with us. Had I been in office?
Correct.
Not even thinkable. I believe that's true.
I think everybody realizes that. Yep.
This would never have happened. But here's a guy that says, I'm going to declare a big portion of Ukraine independent. He used the word independent. And we're going to go out and we're going to go in and we're going to keep peace. You got to say, this is pretty savvy. And you know what the response was from Biden? There was no response. They didn't have one for that. No, it's very sad, very sad. Trump then moved on to discuss the illegal immigration through the southern border.
So, hold on. I don't know this, and I should, but did the, quote, governors, whoever's in charge of those two independent regions of Ukraine...
Did they invite the Russians?
Did they make a public declaration that they're independent? Because Justin Trudeau could say that North Dakota is independent, and we'd be like, okay, what is that? Means nothing to us.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what went on. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what happened. Which is why, it's a savvy move, right, according to Trump.
And
it might be a savvy move.
I haven't seen the pro-Putin conservative voices.
Really?
Like this sounds like he's admiring his strength, Trump here. But I think, at least from my perspective, I'm just speaking as me. I'm just war weary.
Me too.
I am done with the intervention. That policy sucks. Mm-hmm. And who's going to support us after Biden's ridiculousness in Afghanistan? What credibility do we have worldwide anyhow at this point? Are Ukrainians going to trust Americans at this point showing up over there? You think they're going to side with them after our recent track record thanks to Biden?
No. Does it seem to you, or maybe you don't pay attention enough, does it seem like Tucker Carlson has been pro-Russia, pro-Putin? Like last night, he was lamenting how Americans hate, wondering why Americans hate Vladimir Putin. I think part of it is poisoning people who oppose him.
Because he's a bad man.
I think, he went into Ukraine before this, took Crimea before this. He's been rattling sabers for years, kills opposition. I don't know. That seems like a bad guy to me. That's why I don't like Vladimir Putin. And I agreed with what Mitt Romney said back in the debate in 2012 that they are the biggest threat that we face on the earth.
Yeah.
And he was mocked mercilessly for that, if you remember that exchange.
Governor Romney, I'm glad that you recognize that al-Qaeda is a threat. Because a few months ago, when you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia. Not al-Qaeda, you said Russia. The 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back because the Cold War has been over for 20 years.
That doesn't hold up well.
Governor, when it comes to our foreign policy, you seem to want to import the foreign policies of the 1980s.
Really?
Just like the social policies of the 1950s and the economic policies of the 1920s.
Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic.
Hold on a second. What the hell's wrong with the economic policies in the 1920s?
Well, because they were referred to as the Roaring '20s, so people got rich, and rich people are evil.
I see.
I
mean, that's Coolidge's baby. Back
I know.
Off. Now I had never picked up. Now I'm pissed.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Shut up, Barack.
Good.
But you notice when Putin is the most aggressive, it's when that cat's in the office and when Biden's in the office.
Sure.
There's this 4-year stretch. There's nothing going on with Putin encroaching on sovereign territory that isn't his.
Yep.
What was that during those 4 years that kept him at bay? Anything come to mind? Why was Putin not aggressive? It's Trump. Clearly.
Huh. It does coincide with that period, doesn't it?
I know. I had to walk everyone right up to it because nobody else could have seen that, right?
Nobody knew. Nobody saw it coming. And, that's Obama. Obama's not running. But Biden, in office right now, what has he been saying about Russia all this time? First of all, he's saying that Putin didn't want him in office because he's the only one who's gone toe-to-toe. Okay. I've gone toe-to-toe with... Have you? Have you gone toe-to-toe with Vladimir Putin? Because he was right along with Barack Obama during that whole election cycle when it was stupid of Romney to consider Russia a security problem. Romney was largely outspoken against Russia. He called them without question America's number one geopolitical foe, as Obama alluded to. And then Biden said that Romney had a Cold War mentality that was out of date. He started doing the 1980s thing along with Obama. He said it exposed that Romney was way out of touch. Really? And what do you say about any of that now? And why doesn't anybody ask Biden about all of that stuff? It was only 10 years ago. 10 years ago. But nobody cares in the mainstream media. Nobody will remind Biden of how toe-to-toe he went with Vladimir Putin. It's just ridiculous.
Well, Biden did go toe-to-toe with Putin, did he not? I mean, now you've got the cyber threats. We're on high alert here for things. But remember, Biden told Putin, about a year ago, hey, no cyber attacks in these 16 areas.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and so I'm sure there won't be any kind of attacks from Russia because...
Well, except that cyber experts say Russia has the capability to disable or destroy U.S. satellites. And those attacks could also impact GPS for navigation, farming, automation, oil exploration.
Not from Putin.
Now, they haven't done it yet.
That we know of.
But people are concerned about it, that's for sure. Russia's widespread cyber attacks are part of a technique to destabilize Ukraine before a possible invasion. If Russia mounts cyber attacks against the U.S., the targets could include banks, power plants, water treatment facilities, and communications. And like Keith just brought up, no, they can't because Biden made him promise that he wouldn't attack any of those.
Yep.
So we're done there.
So we're good.
I don't even know why you mentioned that. Cyber experts say Russia has the capability to destroy satellites. Those attacks, right, and they already said that in another part of this article, our food supply, things that have to do with our power supply, utilities. Yeah. Utilities have been brought down, and then you don't have service.
Right, so it's energy, water, healthcare, emergency, chemical, nuclear, communications, government, defense, food, commercial facilities. I know some of these are, but there's some other ones in here. IT, transportation, dams, manufacturing, financial services. So you know that if any of those are attacked, you know that Putin isn't trustworthy. Who would have seen that?
Nobody. Nobody. Huh.
Yeah, I guess at their meeting or whatever, whenever they were together, I guess Biden said that kind of threatened that we would do something to their pipelines, which if he did something like Ukraine.
Right.
So you would think that if we did something that
they would retaliate.
Right.
Yeah,
it's almost like the 16 areas that they're supposed to be hands off would be out the window. But he's good. I mean, he's handling it. Biden's in charge. He's got us, man.
We saw how large and in charge he was yesterday.
Oh, good.
Where he was articulating the strategy against Russia and Ukraine. And see if you can follow what he has to say about Russia and Ukraine here.
Sweet Lord.
Who in the Lord's name does Putin think gives him the right to declare new so-called countries on territory that belong to his neighbors? This is a flagrant violation of international law and demands a firm response from the international community.
Okay.
Over the last few months, we've coordinated closely with our NATO allies and partners in Europe and around the world to prepare that response. We've said all along, and I've told Putin to his face more than a month ago, that we would act together. And the moment Russia moved against Ukraine, Russia has now undeniably moved against Ukraine by declaring these independent states.
Are there any periods, any kind of punctuation?
No, because he has no idea what he's saying.
Exactly.
He doesn't have any clue as to what he's saying, what he's talking about. Where am I again? Why am I not wearing any pants?
That's not in the... No, that's
Who has my pudding?
No, that's...
Where's my pudding?
No, just read what's on the...
I could really use some pudding.
That's not even... Who put that in? That's not in there.
I haven't had pudding for over 20 minutes.
What is he?
No. 20 minutes without pudding.
No, the words. Just read the words that we've typed there and stop when you see a period.
Or a comma, at least.
Anything.
Something, so you're not doing a run-on paragraph?
That entire thing was just
so bad. So bad. Let's just take a moment, though, and do a little tribute to our fearless leader, President Brain Dead, over the last little while.
Governor Romney, I'm glad that you recognize that al-Qaeda is a threat.
Wait, is that guy in office again? No.
Sounded nothing like Joe Biden. This is
Rock and I think it's a right
Joe
for
Biden.
people that bad at health care. For people that bad at health care.
My son's business dealings were not anything with everybody that he's talking about.
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure. True international effort to pressure. True international effort to pressure. We've now hit 9 million cases nationwide. You know I know how hard it is. Look, tomorrow's Super Thursday, and I want to thank you all. I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I? We know these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by the thing.
I watched what happened when the kids from Parkland marched up to, and I met with them, and then they went off to up on the Hill when I was vice president. They went off the Hill to go to those neighborhoods. All those congressmen were like, no, I'm not here. I'm not here. Don't tell them I'm around.
We choose unity over division. We choose science over fiction. We choose truth over facts.
Words that stun the nation, and I would argue, I know, shocked the world. International leaders spoke about it. You had people like you had people like the former chairman and leader of the party in Germany. You had Angela Merkel. We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
You sure?
Wealthy kids, black kids, Asian kids.
I never believed
Kids who
we'd have
climb
to
on
fight
rocks.
this hard, though. I never believed
Tough
that
kids.
it'd be this much
Sissy
in
kids.
jeopardy. We launched our campaign over on the Oval back in May 2019.
I'm sorry, what?
But you know what I said then, we've been through a lot
What'd you
since
say?
then. What I said then
What'd you say
is even
then?
more true today.
COVID has taken this year, just since the outbreak, it's taken more than 100 years.
More than 100 years? Wow.
The lives, it's just, when you think about it.
I come out of the black community in terms of my support. If you notice, I have more people supporting me in the black community that have announced for me. The only African-American woman that ever been elected to the United States Senate. A whole range of people. And my point is...
That's not true. The other one is here.
I said the first.
Said the first. No, you said the only. The only.
And we're going to create a new bio-based multi-manufacturing job environment to deal farmers in on the benefits of a changing economy. One of the things that the leader of the United States Senate, the Speaker of the House.
Okay.
More questions,
who are we talking about?
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Okay. All righty. Wow. Just a little sampling.
Yeah, just a sampling
of this powerful man. Powerful man.
I missed hearing in that my favorite one, which is President My Boss.
I love that one.
I mean, that's how bad it is. That's not the entire collection.
Oh no, it'd take more than a show to play the whole collection. It's like a week's worth of shows.
Boy, he sucks.
Oh my gosh. So yesterday, he was asked if he underestimated Vladimir Putin.
Uh-oh.
And here's what happened.
Do you think he may have underestimated Putin?
Thank you.
The lights are on.
But no one's home. We're out to get pudding.
Look at that.
Somebody turn the lights off. What are you? You're going to pick your teeth now?
No,
really?
no. Bro, no.
Would you be surprised if he picked his nose and ate it while he was sitting there? I would not, like a 4-year-old, because that's kind of where he is mentally.
That's weird.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Definitely.
Not always.
Right.
But more and more frequently, he's just completely gone.
But we know that he is in complete control of his Twitter account, for example, where he is able to express himself clearly and he takes his time.
Yeah.
Don't put him under pressure.
Right. Because then he can think about it, or he can look at it after he puts it down and decide, okay, now I'm ready to post this.
Yep.
So yesterday, tweeted out, my administration is using every tool at our disposal to protect Americans from rising prices at the pump. Wow, you're failing freaking miserably. If that's the case. We are closely monitoring energy supplies for any disruption, and we are executing a plan to secure the stability of global energy supplies. After he shut off the Keystone pipeline,
that was
and stopped drilling all over the country.
First thing he did.
It literally was day one. Day one, was it not?
Yes, it was. I promise you it was.
He is responsible for any of the problems we have because we were there. We were energy independent. We didn't need Saudi Arabia. We didn't need Russian oil, Venezuela. We didn't have to get it from other places. We were exporting at that point. We hadn't exported oil in, I think it was 40 or 45, now it's longer than that, 50 or 60 years. And then President Trump got us to be exporters. That's how much oil we had. We were actually not only the largest reserves on Earth, but we were producing more oil than anybody else on Earth.
Yeah, I retweeted that Biden tweet this morning, and your audience responded en masse that really the only tool being used in this process is Biden himself. So
it's perfect.
He's the tool.
I mean, that's perfect. Ugh. Meanwhile, Putin humiliated his spy chief at a ridiculous meeting of his Security Council yesterday.
Yeah, you're going to have to read the subtitles on this.
Okay.
Do you want to play the role? Why don't you play the role of Putin, and I'll be the humiliated spy chief? That seems to work.
Okay.
So I'm going to have with the suggestion of Nikolai Platonovich that we could give our, how to say it, Western partners one last chance. See, you're not happy. You're tapping your fingers. What's going on? Why you look pissed? Presenting them with the choice in the shortest time frame to force Kyiv to choose peace and implement the Minsk agreements. In the worst case, we must make the decision that we are discussing today.
What does it mean in the worst case?
Or to recognize sovereignty?
Oh my! Will speak.
We'll support the proposal about the recognition of.
I will support or support.
I support the proposal. And so
you get the idea.
So Putin says, then say it. Yeah. Say you support the proposal. Oh, he wanted that security chief. I'm so glad Jeffy sent this in. All he wanted the security chief to say was, I support the proposal of those two regions of Ukraine to be independent.
Yeah.
So that Putin could then go, oh, well, my spy chief says that he supports it, so I guess it's time to go in there. I guess
but he couldn't, because he didn't do that in the first place.
Right, he didn't want to say that.
Putin calls him on it, and then he backtracks and okay, you're all right.
Yep, yes, sir.
That gives you an idea of what's going on in Russia with Vladimir Putin. That gives you an idea that the guy is so dangerous, and you can't cross him, because if you do, you're going to be dead.
Yeah, that guy didn't want to say it. He wanted to give one more chance, blah, blah, blah. Putin's like, stick to the freaking script.
Right.
And
you could tell he was pissed from the very start of that speech.
And we were talking before the show today. Jeffy's right. You will never hear from that guy again.
No, he'll be gone. He'll be gone. He's on permanent vacation.
Oh.
Oof. Then this great message from Justin Trudeau yesterday to the people of Ukraine. This has got to inspire them and give them confidence.
Okay.
Yeah, this would be great. Justin
Canada and our allies will defend democracy. We are taking these actions today to stand against authoritarianism.
What?
The people of Ukraine, like all people, must be free to determine their own future.
Truckers.
We will continue working with our international partners to safeguard Ukraine's territorial integrity and prevent further Russian aggression.
Okay, hold on, Rob. Can we play this again with the laugh track, Pat?
Yeah, because that'll make it more bearable.
This guy,
this is no sense of irony at all.
You know that this is this is rubbing Canadians' noses in it. This all this is.
Yeah.
This is
Canada and our allies will defend democracy. We are taking these actions today to stand against authoritarianism. The people of Ukraine, like all people, must be free to determine their own future.
All people except
we will continue
the
working
truckers,
with our international partners to safeguard Ukraine's territorial integrity and prevent further Russian aggression.
Wait, except the truckers? What about the people that gave a little bit of their hard-earned money to
the
truckers?
and the people that gave a little bit of their hard-earned money to the truckers, them as well. We do not support them. They are going to prison. And we've already frozen their bank accounts in many cases.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, okay, that's for the millionaires and billionaires that give hundreds of thousands of dollars to them. No, that's for donations as small as $20. If you gave $20 to the Freedom Convoy, your bank account could be frozen by this guy.
Right. I saw this thing on Fox News where this single mom up in Canada gave $50 to the convoy. It was 100% legal then. That's right. It became illegal. But it was 100% legal. and her bank account has now been frozen.
Did they really pass a law that quickly?
That's part of the
or
emergency
is that
powers
part of the?
thing.
Yeah, it's just the emergency powers.
But
Act.
they doxed the people from what was it? Go send. What is it?
Go give. Go send give.
Give send go.
Give send go.
Give send go.
Yeah.
And so they doxed them. They, a hacker, had no connection to the Canadian government whatsoever, I'm sure. And now all over Ottawa on telephone poles, they're posting the names and the addresses, how much they gave. There's even, in some cases, I saw where there's a Google map with the pins of where all these people live.
Oh, it's despicable.
Do we have the telephone pole where they just kind of hung it up? Look at that. Know thy neighbor. Oh, do shut up.
Remember to thank our generous local convoy donators.
Scary. Then
it shows the contributions, $1,500, $350, $250, $200, and so on.
With their names and addresses.
Yeah.
I mean, this is
unbelievable. Really something.
But don't compare what's happening in Canada and Nazi Germany.
No.
And the only reason you can't is because the timeline in Canada is a much more rapid pace than in Nazi Germany. That took years and years and years of implementing these acts and these decrees. This has been 10 days.
Well, because of our technology now, you can do the fascist stuff so much faster than Hitler could. And when you're doing your fascist stuff, you want to be able to do it swiftly, right? Before anybody stops you. And they're doing it.
What a scary time.
Oh, it's chilling. It's bone chilling. By the way, Democrats in this country overwhelmingly approve of Trudeau's crackdown on freedom protesters and the freezing of bank accounts, according to this new poll. Does that surprise you? No, of course.
No.
The American Democrats love tyranny. They love it.
Yeah.
They can't get enough of it. A recent poll revealed that a majority of American Democrats approve of Trudeau's crackdown on the freedom protesters in Ottawa after he invoked the Emergencies Act.
I want to thank you for doing your part to make that Trudeau thing
I'm working on it, yeah. In a poll conducted by the Trafalgar Group and Convention of States Action obtained by the Daily Wire, it revealed that 55% of likely general election voters overall, thank goodness, 55% of overall voters disapprove of Trudeau's handling of the protesters.
That's terrible.
But with all the press that's on their side, that's not bad. 35% overall approved of Trudeau's crackdown, while 10% said they were unaware. I don't know
what's going on.
10% were people in Jeffy and his family who have no idea what you're talking about with this Trudeau thing. I don't know. I don't know. Looking at Democrat likely voters alone, 65% favored his crackdown on the protesters. 17% is all that disapproved on that.
We are a world divided.
And the Democrats, while they love to throw around the word fascism, they are the biggest fascists that on this planet. Because they've got the alternative here, and they're rejecting the alternative. You know, in Russia, they don't have the alternative of freedom. So it's pretty easy to be a fascist in Russia or China or North Korea, to oppress people when that's the expected situation. In the United States of America, you've got a constitution, and you still have people favoring shutting down every differing point of view and shutting down peaceful protests that are legal and making them illegal as they're happening. It's unbelievable. And that's why we're up against such a difficult situation right now, because about half the country has just lost their minds.
So a year from now, I'll ask again here. Take the temperature here. Are we going to be more free or less free a year from now than we are today here in America? Still a coin toss, right?
They do our part to make sure it's more free.
Please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
Never gets old.
No, it does.
I love it. Love that guy. Hey, listen, if you are in pain and you're tired of it and you've tried everything and nothing seems to help, you topical rubs and ibuprofen, acetaminophen, whatever you've tried and it hasn't worked, please give this a shot. It's Omega XL. It's all natural. Comes from the pristine waters around New Zealand. It's got those omega fatty acids that help so much and are so good for you. And there are 360 joints from your neck to your feet that you need to consider. And they take a beating with daily activity and with aging. And the thing that keeps them well are SPMs. Well, we lose those as we age. And Omega XL helps restore the SPMs and improve those joints and take away the inflammation that causes the pain. Go to omegaxl.com/Pat. Order your first bottle. They'll throw in a second one for free. That's omegaxl.com/Pat. Or you can call 800-844-4888.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
Going to get to Jeffy and Chewing the Fat here in just a second. But first, I got some tweets here from Axis Tech. Why is Joe Biden increasing sanctions on Russia over their occupation of parts of the Ukraine? After all, isn't the occupation mostly peaceful? From Bob Loblaw. So if Texas or Florida were to decide to separate from the U.S., does that open the door for Mexico or Russia or China to occupy either to keep the peace?
Yes!
Good point. Of course not. Crack pipes and pudding. How do they get both the chocolate and vanilla pudding inside the pudding cups?
Oh.
Okay, that's what brain dead Biden is wondering right now.
That's what he's thinking when he's trying to read the teleprompter.
Yeah. Lone Wolf. Joe forgets the last time he went toe-to-toe with Vlad, he ended up with a wedgie and his lunch money stolen. From Dan the Man. I think y'all need to leave Joe alone. You ever consider that maybe he's simply a remarkable teleprompter reader and that maybe he's continually being punked? No, I haven't considered that, actually.
I mean, he just gets down and shuffles off. It's incredible. It's terrible.
From Carl. Pat, was that recording you just played an advanced copy of the upcoming State of the Union address? Yeah, right. And Tobin for Pope campaign. Justin Trudeau. We must destroy democracy to save democracy.
Amen.
That's about what he's saying.
Amen.
All right, I think we have a new Jeffy intro here, or at least a temporary one.
Yeah, it's
Is this an audition for a new Jeffy song?
Thank you, an audition.
All right.
We're doing auditions.
Yeah, we're doing auditions.
And this is just
because I mean the other one, the Space Oddity one is so long that we could use a few alternatives.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Here's one.
It's a puppy. It's a dog. See? It's a dog. It's a dog.
It's not very good.
He's playing the drum with his tail, I'd like to point out. It's catchy, right?
He's really not very good.
Oh, you're not?
I can't. Do you recognize the song? I don't recognize it.
If you just play the music, you may think that it's actually cutting edge.
Yeah.
Right? But seeing the dog actually
ruins it?
Yeah. It ruins the whole thing.
All right. Here's Chewing the Fat.
Before we get into
Jeffy.
what I actually had planned, I want to play the Justin Trudeau video again.
You mean Trudeau?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, it works with the laugh track, no question. But watch the girl behind him. Okay. She's the one who wrote it because she's wearing her mask, but she is saying it word for word behind him.
Oh, really?
The whole time.
Oh, this is the finance chick.
Incredible.
She's got issues, man. Yeah, I know.
Let's watch this.
Canada
I didn't notice
and our
that.
allies will defend democracy. We are taking these actions today to stand against authoritarianism. The people of Ukraine,
She's helping him.
like all people, must be free to determine their own future. We will continue working with our international partners to safeguard
That is
Ukraine's
weird.
territorial integrity and prevent further Russian aggression.
Okay.
She's a crazy
incredible.
lady whose grandfather
Wow.
was the Nazi sympathizer in Ukraine during World War II, if I'm not mistaken.
It's just
She's the
no
finance.
one in the world believes what that guy is saying.
Oh, absolutely
It's just
not.
incredible.
How could you?
I'm so bummed. The 2022 Winter Olympics are over.
I know. It
I'm
hurts.
so bummed.
No
It
more
hurts.
frozen
I
penis
mean,
talk.
we were fourth in golds. and total medals, tied for second in silvers and third in bronze.
Yeah, but somebody points out we're challenging that China one or something.
Really?
Yeah, there's something that's under, I don't know, protest or something. Continue, sorry.
Okay. I mean, I was looking at overall for the Olympics. I mean, the U.S. is so far ahead of all the other countries.
Oh, well, when you put summer games in there, we win every summer games almost.
Yeah.
Almost all of them. I mean, I think the Soviet Union won, obviously, when we weren't there was it 80? 80, yeah. In 80 and then 92 or sometime. But we've won nearly all.
But, I mean, they're still at the bottom. You know, when you look at the total number of medals, Russia is still at the bottom in the top 10.
What?
Yeah. I mean, according to this chart, United States has, a couple thousand medals.
Yes.
And Russia only has like 547 total.
Yeah, but what about the Soviet Union?
Yeah, are we adding
If you include the Soviet Union, they're going to be up there, number 2 behind us. Pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fine.
Yeah, just Russia alone, that's a different deal.
It's the same thing to me.
Because it competed for a long time as the Soviet Union.
That's true. And they were a lot bigger country.
Yeah. Yep.
Then that's when Ukraine got uppity.
Right.
And decided they were going to leave.
Right.
I mean, it's not like when the Commanders start playing, we're going to just start all of the franchise records at 0.
Right.
The Redskins.
But I see where, viewership for the games down 40% from the Winter Olympics in South Korea. And they claim that 60% more minutes were spent watching through streaming services. But so what? I mean, they were down all over. I mean, they offered so much on the platforms. Of course, those numbers are up. But overall, the numbers are way, way down. I mean, it's over there.
Yeah.
Really struggling. I've got some ideas to help them out for
Do
the
you?
next Olympics.
Oh, that's kind of you.
Yeah, I mean, call me, email me, chewingthefat@theblaze.com. I'm happy to help. I've got a great idea that can help you out on your platforms.
You are so generous with your time and your effort.
So, but wait,
they spent billions of dollars. Why
gonna
not spread the wealth a little bit?
Could share it here. Why is he waiting?
It's going to take too long.
Did you give us
explain.
one? Can you give us a taste?
And so I see on top of everything else surrounding the Olympics, no, not for free.
Okay.
Maybe on Chewing the Fat.
Maybe you're not as generous as I thought you were.
Thank you.
I see where, on top of everything else, the music group Heavy Young Heathens has filed a lawsuit against NBC because the U.S. figure skating pair, they used House of the Rising Sun, and that violated the program. They should not have done
They
that.
can't own the rights to that.
Yeah, they
That's
do.
an Animals song from 19.
And remember,
it's based on a traditional folk song,
Thank you.
but
Yes.
their version of it is a signature song of theirs throughout the world, they claim.
Get out
and
of here.
They've used it in movies and commercials. And so, I mean, and like they said, they've used all those platforms to air that broadcast. So they're probably
Who wrote
getting
that?
some cash
Didn't
from
Eric Burden write that?
No, the Heavy Young Heathens wrote that.
They
I don't
did
know if you
not.
know what you're talking
They
about.
did not.
Because
If you look it
they
up.
wrote
House of the
their
Rising
version of the
Sun.
song.
Right. I've done this.
Okay.
It's over 100 years old.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
We did this on this about 2 weeks ago.
The genre is folk rock, blues rock. The songwriter, traditional by Alan Price. Okay. It's been done by a million people, though.
Right.
You're right. So, all right.
I'm just telling you.
I'm just telling you, it's not their song, though. I know that.
That version is their song.
What are they? The Overweight Young Heathens? What are they?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That must be a band you relate to. Oh. See what he did?
I do. Oh, we see.
And, we got no Olympics, we got no football. But coming on March 5th, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Logan Paul get together to present the Slap Fighting Championship in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, I don't. This is.
Oh.
I hate this stuff.
From one of these guys is like a baseball bat to the face.
These guys are great, man.
Slap God. He's literally a farmer.
Wait. He practices slapping watermelons?
Yeah.
He has never lost.
He's never lost.
So I went down.
He's a slap fight. I've never heard of this before.
Slap
That's
fighting?
interesting.
Yeah. I went down the slap fighting rabbit hole. yesterday after this was announced, and I watched a super heavyweight slap off.
Really?
With a solid slug, 6'2", 300, and a Highlander from Missouri, 6'1", 340. Here's my favorite part of the.
That's a big boy. Okay, here we go.
Gosh. Solid slug with the.
It's a solid slug right here, and the crowd gets into it. 1, 2. Oh, my boy, down Highlander goes, and it's over.
Is that it?
That's
you go
over.
down once and it's over.
No, if you can get back up and they make it okay. If the referee says you're okay to go, you're good to go. But your team can call it, or if you get completely knocked out, there it's over.
Stupid.
You got to have have a mouthpiece, and you got to have gauze in the ear. I mean, those guys.
Jeez.
Boy, this is dumb. We are degenerating as a society.
I mean, who thought of that? Hey, you know what we ought to do? Just have two big fat guys stand there and slap each other.
It's evolved to that, right? I mean, it started probably in divorce court, and then it's evolved to just two heavyweight champions.
Probably.
And so, as long as we're on slapping, I mean, we got some problems in Big Ten basketball too. Michigan basketball coach Juwan Howard suspended for the final 5 games.
Oh boy,
fined $40,000.
I'm surprised he has his job.
I know he's going to be back for the Big Ten tournament.
Wow,
I know. And there's a whole lot of race talk surrounding this and other events in the Big Ten.
What's
some
the
of
race
it may
talk?
be justified.
Is he claiming
Guard? No, he's not. But Guard has had some other issues in the Big Ten as well throughout the years. But he was mad that Guard called timeout with 15 seconds left.
And Guard is the
coach for Wisconsin. Head coach for Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
And he called the timeout. And he went
Juwan Howard hit him.
He went to explain to Juwan, why there was a timeout at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And he reached out and touched his arm. And Juwan was like, "Don't effing touch me." And then the scuffle started.
And there was a problem because... Hang on for a second.
Okay.
There was a problem because he called timeout with 15 seconds left.
And they were up.
And they were up by 15 points.
Yeah, right.
There's no way they were going to lose the game, and yet he called timeout to try. And
And Juwan was mad about that.
So then this happened.
At the handshake. Then the team started getting into it. And then he reached across and slapped the assistant coach upside the head. And originally, he refused to apologize, but after taking time to reflect on all that
and being
happened,
threatened with my job,
I realized how unacceptable both my actions and words were.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and how much I enjoy my $2.8 million a year salary.
So I'm sorry, and sure, I'll take the fine, and you can kick me off. I'll be suspended for 5 games, and I'll be back for the postseason.
Now, wait a minute. Isn't he the one who called that extra timeout 20 years ago? 30 years? How many years ago it was in the Final Four?
In his playing days?
Yeah, possible.
He has a history with timeouts.
He does. He likes them when they're on his side. Yeah. And as long as we're, sports punching continues. Let's see, we're an ice hockey player in the U.S. Premier Hockey League caught on video punching a referee in the face this past Sunday. So he gets a penalty call. Ref says, "Get out. You're going to the penalty box." And no, I'm not. I'm punching you in the face.
Come on.
I'll be clear that more people saw it just now than saw it on Sunday. But Commissioner of the USPHL, Bob Tureau, issued a statement saying that it's zero tolerance for any player striking any official at any time. The player in question's actions had led to a lifetime ban. The incident is currently being investigated by local authorities, so we're going to have no further comments at this time.
A lifetime ban for the player?
Lifetime ban.
Wow.
Yeah, he's done.
Wow.
He's going to be getting you coffee at Starbucks from now on.
Dang.
I know. No, don't be hitting the referees, bro.
Yeah. That's serious.
That is. This portion of Chewing the Fat on Pat Unleashed brought to you by the daily podcast, Chewing the Fat, with Jeff Fisher.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you
available
providing
on
money
all
to
platforms.
the show? That's great.
You're welcome. Yeah, I'm providing money to me.
I have
Subscribe.
an update on this. His check, it bounced.
Oh, boy.
Subscribe,
Surprise.
download, rate, and review. Tell your friends. Chewing the Fat with Jeff Fisher. Yes, that's absolutely true. How's your cell phones working? Those of you hanging on to your old phones are going to be forced to get an upgrade soon. Some already started. AT&T became the first major provider to switch off its 3G communications network yesterday. They're making way for the 5G networks. So if you have, without 3G, it's going to make millions of devices incapable of handling calls, texts, or accessing internet without Wi-Fi available.
People still have 3G? Wow, I haven't seen that for a long time.
Yeah, a million. They claim in 2000, a couple of years ago, they said 30 million were still using 3G devices. So they AT&T shut it off yesterday. T-Mobile is going to shut theirs off in July. Verizon in the end of the year.
You still have 4G though, right?
Yes.
For now.
Yeah.
I was reading an article that 6G is on the horizon.
Oh, boy.
6G.
I mean, I don't know if I can take the speed. I mean, right now, 5G is 10 times faster than 4G.
Is it?
You can barely see
Is
it.
it?
It is. I mean, 4G networks are 500 times faster
I think the promise
than
of
3G.
5G performance sort of outweighs the
Really?
actual performance.
And you would know
can't
as
even
much
see
time
it.
as you spend on your phone.
It's
Yes.
so
You're
fast.
able to compare.
It's so fast.
Well, I've got 4G on everything and
Right.
5G on certain things, and it's the same to me.
Oh my god,
It's the same.
It's unbelievably faster.
No, it's
Oh,
really
man.
not.
You can't even see it. It's so fast.
And we were promised something amazing. Well, this
Yes,
is what's
we
going
were.
to finally make
Yes, we were.
driverless cars work because the response time is just instant. Is it?
Is it?
Okay.
And I want to thank our listeners who are on the lookout for members of the Lumbee tribe out in the world. I got an email from Hunter for Fat Pile or Pat Unleashed. He said, not sure if it's Jacob or Isaac, but I saw this in Crystal City, Virginia today. I didn't see the owner to ask if he had high-speed internet yet, but he did have a nice truck. Thanks, Hunter. So people are on the lookout.
Nice.
I
Good.
know. Nice.
Okay.
So they're out there.
More coming up. And thank you for being here. 888-900-3393. Also at Pat Unleashed on Twitter. Before we dive into all the stuff left, we're barely going to scratch the surface on everything going on. But let me tell you about Built Bars, because those hunger pangs during the course of your day, they're tough to deal with.
They're overwhelming at
It's
times.
hard. It's hard to concentrate on work when you're like, I gotta eat, and that's all you can think of.
I know.
That's where Built Bars come in. They're delicious, and they're not going to screw up your body for you find out that you're 5 pounds heavier tomorrow. They only have 180 calories or less. There's 18 grams of protein in these, 4 or 5 grams of sugar, 4 or 5 grams of carbs. So they're good for you, but they're also really delicious, which is really important, because if they taste like chalk, you're not going to eat them, right? I'm not anyway. I remember when we were on Atkins, and trying the Atkins diet, and they had the Atkins bars. Ugh. Wow. No, thank you.
Wow.
No, thank you.
You know what? Just give me the steak.
Yeah,
It'll be
right.
fine.
Right. Give me a steak and 4 pounds of bacon.
That'd be great.
And 3 hot dogs. And that's a good start.
That's a good day.
Not with Built Bars. This will satisfy you. They taste great. You don't have to worry about it. Go to Built.com. Use the promo code PAT15. You'll save 15% off your first order. Promo code PAT15 for 15% off at Built.com.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
We got to share this. With all that's going on in our world and in this country, it might be time to revisit a prediction from a musical artist, one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah? Who's that?
Post Malone.
Are you
Man,
really?
I can't
You're
get
a Post Malone guy?
enough of Post Malone.
Like, what's your favorite?
Songs.
What's your favorite Post Malone song?
Too hard to pick. You ask me this a lot of times, but when I'm this passionate about something, I can't just pick one.
What about Sunflower? Do you
overall
like that one?
Love that one.
Presentation of Post Malone.
Right.
Overwhelming.
It's tremendous. Name another one for me. And
Are you a fan of the song White Iverson?
yes, of course.
White, I got to listen to that one.
White Iverson.
How
Is
about-
that in relation to Allen
I
Iverson?
don't know. I got to go and listen
I mean,
to that.
I'm asking just to test you, of course.
Right. Well, I don't claim to be the big Post Malone apostle
that's
here.
okay. All right.
How
Fair
about
enough.
the song candy paint.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Really good stuff.
Jeffy, you like
Really
candy
good
paint?
Oh, that's good stuff.
Yeah?
I saw him do it live.
Did you? How many
Yeah,
times? I've seen him 48 times.
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen him 53.
40. Oh, crap.
53
Guess I'll have to go to a few more shows.
Wait,
this
do you
weekend.
guys travel around the country
Yeah.
chasing Post Malone
Heck yeah,
tour bus?
I'm a poster. I'm a poster. We call ourselves posters.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, posters. We hang out in the
Yeah.
parking lot. And
Okay.
Party.
All right.
Yeah.
We might have a problem.
So here's what Post Malone had to say from this was a few years ago.
Yeah, several years back. Yeah.
Biggest lie, it would have to be the U.S. government.
Oh, dang!
No, I'm serious.
He's serious.
He's serious.
Let him talk.
No, let him get a swig on the cig.
The biggest lie is the U.S. government. It's not what it used to be. Now it's a reality show, and I think there's going to be a lot of weird that happens within our lifetime and within our generation that really changes the way of the world. So move somewhere, because whenever martial law is declared, you have, or whenever the credit cards fail, whenever your cards fail, whenever your banks fail, and you can't use your card anymore, you have 3 days to get out of where you are, because that's when they're coming for you. That's the big move. That's checkmate right there. And they think they have you. But move out to the country, get your scraps, stand up for yourself, build a tower, build a long road to where you can see them coming. Don't give up.
All right there is why I'm a poster. That's why I'm a poster. Okay?
Yeah. I think you can mark in time how old that video is, because there's no facial tattoos. Because now, doesn't he have just like, it's just a...
It's got a few.
There's a lot going on now.
I know. It's a huge difference between show 1 and show 53, the last show I went to. Man.
Yeah, because it's changed over the
evolved.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So...
So what's different
Good
about
advice,
Post
from
Malone
Post.
show?
It is.
Good advice.
I mean...
Ta-da.
Ta-da.
Truth.
So you got to move somewhere. I've been saying that for how long?
I know.
But I got it from Post, of course.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
You build a tower,
Yeah.
get a long road.
Right, so you can see the government coming.
And you got 3 days.
Exactly.
Hold on.
That is a long road.
You got 3 days.
How long is this road?
Powerful.
You've got 3 days to
It's,
watch him coming.
7
No, you got
mile
3
road.
days to get out.
Oh, my
You got
bad.
3 days to get out.
Totally
Are you
misunderstood.
not listening
you
to
did.
Post?
All right, got some good news here. U.S. health officials are optimistic, albeit cautiously, that the country has turned the corner on the unprecedented wave of infection caused by the Omicron COVID variant, as new cases plummet 90% from the pandemic record just 5 weeks ago. Okay, so 5 weeks ago, do you remember what the daily case new infections was? Do you remember how many there were?
200 million a day, new cases.
No.
Am I over or
no,
under?
you're under. You're under. You just lost on the prices, right? 800,000 a day.
Wow.
800,000 a day.
Okay.
Now we're at 84,000 about. So it's 1/10 of what it was, essentially.
Good.
Isn't that great?
That's excellent.
The daily average cases down by at least 40% in all U.S. regions over the past 2 weeks. I mean, that sounds like we've turned a big corner.
Huge corner.
Hospitalizations have also fallen sharply. There were 159,000 patients on average a day. Now it's 66,000. Still too many, but it's going the right direction fast.
So does President Biden, in his State of the Union speech coming up soon, I know that they've got the Capitol fenced off, and they're a little nervous that, somebody might come into the city. Does he follow suit with other countries that are dropping everything around the world at the State of the Union?
That is the $1 million question.
That is.
It's all done? Because
I hope so, but it doesn't look like it.
I know.
So okay, in light of this great news, and it's February 23rd, so the speech is Tuesday, March 1st. So this is probably going to be the most recent data point.
We still have a dark spring.
Oh, yeah.
And
There you
we'll
go.
see if we can turn the corner
It's
by
gonna be interesting.
summer.
Isn't that what they were saying that just in what, October, November last year?
Yeah, no, it's going to be for the unvaccinated. It's going to be a
really
dark winter of death.
Right.
And so suffering. But hold on, I'm wondering, are we going to get a major announcement? Are they going to say something about stop masking your kids? No way. Are they going to say, hey, March 18th, the FAA is the last day that the FAA requires masks on planes? You think he's going to announce that? I don't think so.
Airlines in Europe are already getting rid of them. for their travel inside their countries.
Okay, we'll find out. It's going to be a fun speech Tuesday night.
Mm-hmm. And, of course, a dark winter.
Dark winter.
For the unvaxxed. I mean, we just announced yesterday, the Buckingham Palace just announced that the Queen and Prince Charles both have COVID.
Yeah.
And they're both, excuse me, but aren't they both vaccinated multiple times?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, fully vaxxed, got their boosters, and they still got COVID.
But to be clear, they absolutely. That's the point, that they got COVID, but that is actually my theory on that is that that's because William has made sure that they got COVID, because if they both kick it, he's king. Just saying.
So he's planting the COVID.
That's right. It might not be William. It might be Kate, but we make sure that a worker. Thank you. Oh no, the Queen's sick. Oh, so is Dad. Oh darn, I'm king.
Yeah, the line is from the Queen to Prince Charles, right? He'd be king next, and then William, and then Harry. Is Harry still part of it?
No, I don't think so. Harry's still the bloodline, but he's not.
I know Andrew, who's steeped in controversy and had everything stripped from him. He was sixth in line.
He just settled, though. He's good. Just go back to your cave and be quiet.
Yeah, he settled for, was it 20 million? 15, 20 million?
Whatever it was to her foundation.
Yeah, to her foundation. Mm-hmm.
I need a foundation desperately, I'll tell you that.
You know, though, that after the midterms, all the Democrats need to do to restart all the pandemic panic is to just claim a new variant or waning immunity. They're going to come up with something to get us all fired up about it again. They can't do it before the election because they know people are sick to death of it. But after the midterms, I think they'll try to restart it. I think they will.
That would not surprise me at all.
So you think maybe the speech is the occasion to drop a lot of these burdensome mandates, and then you say, bring it back up,
and then bring it back. Look, we tried. We know you're sick of it, and that's why we dropped the restrictions like everybody else around the world. But we couldn't foresee variant X.
So you will know based on the contents of this speech Tuesday night how confident the Democrat Party is in the hard drives come November. That's if they're confident in them, then they won't drop the mandates, right? But if they need your vote, then they'll drop the mandates.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay,
we will see.
I mean, that's going to be interesting to see Joe get through it.
Yeah, can Joe get through it? That'll be another interesting. Because last year it was what, an hour and a half speech or something. It was really long, if I remember correctly. And he got through most of it okay, but
yeah,
there were some
waning moments there.
There were some gaps.
Toward the end.
Yeah. Because the drugs only get him so far.
I know.
I want a behind the scenes 5 minutes before every speech. Right? I want to see, them getting the shot ready. All right, roll up your sleeve, Mr. President. Here we go. Again.
Okay.
I want to see the 5 minutes preceding every speech.
Give me the adrenaline shot. Look right in the heart. Oh, like I see on Mission Impossible. So they get him from that to this, where he can actually sort of string together sentences.
And do you recall that time LL Cool J was out front and Jeffy brought that video in? He's like, and they had to intro it twice. Remember that?
Yeah.
Right.
Something wasn't working in the car with the
Joe Biden. And Joe was nowhere in sight.
to be found.
Bring the paddles. We need the paddles this time.
Then he had to completely reset the whole thing and bring him out
and
again.
He finally came. Yeah, that's right.
And then he comes waddling out. Great.
That's not great at all, to be honest. It's not great at all.
It's embarrassing.
Thank you.
By the way, there's a little uproar again over Joe Rogan because yesterday he said Biden can't talk right anymore. You think?
Welcome to the party.
Statement.
That's controversial?
Yeah, yes. On Monday, Rogan was joined by fellow podcaster Coleman Hughes. Anybody familiar with Coleman?
I love Coleman.
Oh, yeah. Can't get enough.
I'm a Colemaner.
And the conversation turned toward the 2020 election, and Rogan said that was one of the things that people were saying, that I was a Trump supporter during the election because I said I would vote for Trump before I would vote for Biden. That's awesome. It's good that he at least realizes that, He said, but I didn't vote for either. The reason why I said that was like You don't see this? Are you guys out of your effing mind? You guys don't see this guy can't talk right anymore? Well, that's exactly right.
Rogan went back 20 years to use as a marker for the difference, which we've done here. But I mean, it's even more stunning than that. I mean, 10 to 5 years.
Oh, yeah, just a few years ago. So much more cognizant than he is now. And they made the point on the show that Biden's always been a dummy.
Yeah.
Which is true. A dummy who has said a lot of silly stuff. It's not exactly the word they use. But previously he was at least articulate, and that's true.
Yes.
But that's not the case anymore. That's for sure. Rogan concluded Biden is a lifelong liar who has told tall tales for decades to increase his popularity. Yeah, and he continues to. What was it? It was the dog story last week that has been disproven again. That a constituent called him when he was on the city council and was complaining because they couldn't get a hold of animal control. So she wanted the dead dog removed from her lawn.
And what'd you do?
Oh, I went over.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for some reason, everybody found that hysterical.
Right.
So I went over.
Okay. Okay. Is there more? Or are we good here? You went over there?
Yeah. And as I'm getting the dog on the lawn, she comes out and she says, I want it gone now. I want it off my lawn.
Yeah.
What'd you say to her?
Nothing. I just put it on her doorstep. You know why? Because I'm an a-hole.
Yeah. And because she's a Republican and you're a Democrat?
Yeah, she must have been a different political persuasion than me.
Which is completely not. I mean,
she's not a political binary. Something.
I heard the first time I heard it, I'm like, this is another story that's just not true.
And we disbelieved it in the first place. And it was told from somebody who was there in the council or something that he went to her house, sure enough, and put the dog in the back of his truck and drove it off. He didn't put it on the stairs.
I was just joking.
Uh-huh.
I was just
Shut up.
funning.
You're just lying as you always do, trying to glorify, gratify. Just play to an audience. It's despicable, but that's what we've come to expect from him. All right, let me tell you about Scoremaster. The 3-week rule may be the best financial advice ever. What is it? You wait 3 weeks to buy a new car. You wait 3 weeks to refi your mortgage. And wait 3 weeks to finance any major purchase. Why 3 weeks? Because that's how fast the average Scoremaster user takes to boost his or her credit score. An average of 61 points. And listen, 61 points added to your credit score can save you tens of thousands of dollars on everything you finance. Scoremaster technology was developed by credit data scientists to boost your credit score higher and faster than you ever thought possible. Scoremaster is really easy. Takes maybe a minute to get started, and you don't have to wait months for your best credit score. Again, like 3 weeks on average. Try Scoremaster for free and see how many plus points you can add to your credit score. Go to scoremaster.com/Pat. That's scoremaster.com/Pat.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
Got some tweets here. Maskless in Florida tweets, today's Chewing the Fat audition for Jeffy's intro. Just an elaborate ploy by Keith to get Pat to unwillingly or willingly play an animal video.
Agreed.
True. So?
Probably true.
I'm not ashamed.
Freegan my slap fighting. Finally, an inclusive sport for the Jeffies of the world. Olympics 2024. Watch out. Jeff Fisher is on deck.
Man, I don't know. That's tough business, man.
You get slapped into a middle of next week, and you don't want to do that.
And
again.
I watched as I went down that.
That's gotta hurt.
And I went down the rabbit hole. Now you can't punch or hit the side farther in the back of the head and stuff.
Yeah.
But because if you do, then you get penalty points. But they do that.
Oh wow.
Really?
So oops.
They do.
Sorry.
That?
You said do.
Yeah, I did. I caught that. Hold on. A question for you there, Jeffy. You've been training, I'm sure, in your life. How many times have you been slapped? How many times have you been slapped in the face?
In a regular...
No. In the face. Just slap. Training, impromptu. I just want to know how many times in your life.
Zelda Lilbert 10 tweets, see, long roads do exist, not just from Keith Malinak to Pat's houses.
Or not. There we go.
Just not. I see. Okay. Just not from your house to my house.
That's a shame, because I'd love to come and see you sometime.
Really relate that. Führer Brandon. Every time Joe Rogan tells the truth, there's an immediate uproar. Interesting.
That is interesting.
Isn't it, though? Also from Postmaster Jeffy.
Oh, nice.
Can someone please call up Cardinal Tobin? Then we'll know, for getting our
if we're gonna
rights
get our rights
back.
back. Okay, I like that.
Cardinal Tobin can tell us about it.
He's at the Vatican now, though. He's not even in Jersey anymore.
Tobin?
So,
Is it the Vatican?
Yeah.
Wow. It'd be tougher to reach, probably.
I know.
Let's see. Also from Barry. I listen to you on Spotify most days unless I'm home.
Thank you.
Thank you, indeed. Then I watch you on Pluto TV. Why don't you tell people they can listen to you there more? Yeah. I understand the Blaze TV plugs, but not YouTube when they constantly don't play the whole show. It's a good point.
That is a great point.
It's a good point, Barry.
Pluto TV.
But yeah, wherever you get your podcast is a good place to download the show. And make sure you rate it 5 stars, if you would, please. And tell your friends about it and share it with everybody you know. And we'll spread the good word. And we can all be together on this. So, I don't know. I don't know why. And then the Rumble thing too. We were on Rumble, then we weren't on Rumble, then we're told Rumble's coming right back. We're just about there. So I don't know.
Yeah, we don't have control.
We're getting close.
There's a chip shortage.
Is that what it is?
There's a chip shortage.
It's a damn chip we can't get to make it happen on Rumble.
Calm down.
All right.
Let me in. Yeah, every time I go to the Pat Gray Unleashed page on Rumble,
not those type of chips. But
I get to see the most recent one was January 17th. So it's only been, 5.5 weeks? And it's a picture of Jeffy in a wig. I mean, I got to stop seeing this every time I go to this page. That was the thumbnail for that show.
That's awesome.
Oh, thank you. I don't know, man. I just sent another email off. We'll see.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
I'm all for the chip shortage now. If it's my picture on the thumbnail that's left, go to Rumble.
Hey, really good news. U.S. soccer and women's players have agreed to settle the equal pay lawsuit.
It's about
sure is.
Yay! I've been waiting and waiting to hear on that. Because, wow, they make more than the men, but not a lot more. Well, yeah, it's a lot more, but I don't know what they're complaining. Remember when U.S. Soccer released the numbers, and the women and the women's team was paid millions more than the men's team? That never seemed to make any dent, though. Nobody. They don't. They act like that story never even happened. And maybe did I dream it?
It's possible.
A 6-year fight over equal pay that had pitted key members of the World Cup winning United States women's soccer team against their sports national governing body ended yesterday morning with a settlement that included a multi-million-dollar payment to the players and a pinky promise. Oh, it doesn't say it's a pinky promise. I don't know if it's that strong.
Okay.
By their federation to equalize pay between the men and women national teams. Under the terms of the agreement, the athletes, a group consisting of several dozen current and former players, will share $24 million in payments from the federation, U.S. Soccer. Jeez.
Yeah, $2 million got broken into another special fund, though, right, for charity.
The Jeff Fisher charity.
No, I wish it was. And that's only $22 million. Gets broken up between
well, then they better go back and sue for that other $2 million.
The bulk of that figure is back pay. A tacit admission that compensation for the men and women has been different and unequal. Well, again, who brings in more money? The men. And it's not even close. Are the women more successful competition-wise? Yes. But they're not more successful bringing in revenue.
Then write that into the contract.
Right.
Yeah.
I would think so. Perhaps more notable than the payment, though, at least for the players, is U.S. Soccer's pledge to equalize pay between the men and women teams in all competitions, including World Cup. Wow, okay. And again, there's a difference in the play between the women and the men.
I mean, that's what that's what the former president said.
Yeah.
Now, this new president was one of the former president said that the women had less physical ability, and they ran. They ran that guy.
A couple years, they got beaten They were beaten by the Dallas 14 and under team.
Yeah.
5-2. 5-2
So
from the Dallas 14 and under boys team.
Ability issue?
Yeah, a little bit of an ability issue. Yeah, a little bit. Just a slight difference.
Pat Gray.
Think they'll ever build a road between Keith's house and Pat's house?
No! Please, no! No! No!
It's Pat Gray Unleashed on The Blaze.
All right. I think we have to continue on this women's soccer thing.
Yeah.
I can't take it.
Good quotes in there.
I can't take it.
How bad they have been ripped off and cheated.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Jeffy. Thank you.
And it's finally going to be fair for them?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Good.
But perhaps more notable than the payment, at least for the players, is the U.S. Soccer's pledge to equalize pay between the men and women's national teams at all competitions, including World Cup, in the team's next collective bargaining agreements. Now, that gap was once seen as an unbridgeable divide preventing any sort of settlement. If it's closed by the Federation in negotiations with both teams, the change could funnel millions of dollars to a new generation of women's players. Okay? So that's what's happening right now. And
oh no, what?
And we have this quote from the new president of U.S. Soccer.
Yeah, Cohn or something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She said, although the settlement reached today is an incredible success, much work remains to be done.
I mean, if it was all wrapped up, she wouldn't have a job.
Right. There's still so much inequality.
Yeah, exactly. And you know how we fix that? We take all of the scrubs, all the second stringers on the men's team, have them go and play for the women's team. Right? Because, I mean, you can't box them out. That wouldn't be inclusive.
To be honest, I know that would be a great thing, and it would make the women's team that much better.
Yeah, let's just see.
Well, let's see. Then Hope Solo said this. The numbers speak for themselves. Yeah, and we'll talk about that in a second. The numbers speak for themselves. Solo said, the men's players get paid more to just show up than we get paid to win major championships. Is that right, little snarky puddin'? Because...
Snarky puddin'.
First of all, they had a different structure.
Correct, for their contracts.
For their contracts that the men negotiated and the women negotiated. And that's why, in part, the men made more because they negotiated a better deal.
You signed the wrong deal, ladies.
Yeah, don't sign it if you don't want to play under those circumstances. The other thing is, and it's not even mentioned in this article.
It never is.
The men make tens or hundreds of millions of dollars more than the women, despite the fact that the women, yes, are actually more successful in the women's league than the men are in the men's league. The men can't win a freaking championship to save their lives. They can barely get to the Olympics. In fact, a couple Olympics ago, they couldn't. Was it last time? Might even been last time. They didn't even make the Olympics. But the women didn't win the Olympic gold last time.
Not.
And so we're supposed to completely forget about the fact that the men make more money for U.S. soccer.
Yeah, maybe the women need to get a better sales team.
By a lot! Because what happens when the men show up? So does a crowd. A crowd shows up at the arena.
Really?
At the stadium.
Does that help?
Yeah, and that helps.
What about on
revenue.
TV? What about on TV?
And on TV, when you're making TV deals, and your deal on TV is hundreds of millions of dollars, that also helps.
No doubt.
When the women show up and only 4,500 people show up with them to watch, they're not going to make as much money.
Weird.
Isn't that something? Also, buying merchandise, the jerseys, all the clothing items, the soccer balls, the everything that the men bring in that the women don't. I'm sorry, the facts are facts, and you can't change the facts. So what do? They just ignore them. Yeah. But the numbers do speak for themselves. Look it up. We were talking about the WNBA last week because there was some weird deal with them. They make $60 million a year. $60 million.
And they keep ramming that sport
right down our throats.
My throat.
Okay, $60 million WNBA. The NBA, $10 billion. Okay, there's somewhat of a disparity there. Somebody.
All right, some of that needs to go to the women.
And it does.
That's the
Thank
disparity
you.
of it.
The
Okay.
NBA does subsidize the WNBA. Otherwise, it would have been gone the year it started.
Hang on a second.
I'll tell you what the soccer...
Hold on. Here's the average attendance. So the dudes, 25,000 per game.
Mm-hmm.
The women, 7,000.
Okay.
Oh, you said 4,500.
I said 4,500. That wasn't far off.
So
you lied.
Okay, but it's almost four times as much for the dudes.
Yeah.
You got a lot more than that.
Were they making 4 times the salary? No, they were not.
So that's your point.
They weren't.
That's my point.
Maybe the women's soccer team needs to start dunking their water in ice, or dunking their heads in ice water.
Just to clear their heads.
It's one of the most effective stress resets. It involves submerging your face in ice cold water while holding your breath.
Oh.
And I read a little story about it, and I saw this is exactly why AOC...
That's why she's so clear-headed.
You know her, you love her. Did it on her Instagram with boyfriend Riley cheering her along. She claims she's been very stressed. So
has she?
Boo.
They read that this would help with the stress. So
they read. Where did they read it?
Probably the Washington Post. And so they went ahead.
All right. Do we have
did their Instagram?
And here she is.
Okay.
5,
4.
Okay, just do it.
She's barely in there.
I know she's not even putting her face all the way down.
Good job.
Come on, get your
It was
whole head
very
in
cold.
there.
And yes, my kitchen is messy today. Deal with it.
Am I supposed to do it again?
Yeah, you're supposed to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How long?
For 5 minutes.
multiple
See if you can
sets.
stay under there for 5
Go
minutes.
for as long as you can.
How long?
10. Make it 10 minutes. Try to stay under there for 10 minutes.
It gave me
Okay.
a brain freeze.
So stop right there for just a second. I want to say, first of all, I would be willing to stick around for multiple minutes to see
it. Yeah.
And I want to say that messy kitchen she refers to, that my kitchen is more than a mess today, deal with it. That's more than a day's mess. Okay, I'm just saying. I'll deal with it. You're right. But that's more than a day's mess, baby. So perhaps you need to
That's why she's
take care of
stressed,
that.
dude. She's got that messy
she
kitchen. Needs to get back in there. Am
That
I
is
right,
stressful when you have to clean up the kitchen.
Well,
pretty stressful.
It's your duty as a woman.
I mean, especially when you don't even know enough about the kitchen to know a disposal.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
When you see one. What's this weird thing? It makes a lot of noise. It's got stuff that's going round and round.
Yeah,
in
it's a portal to hell, AOC.
After you dip your face in ice water, go ahead and dip it into that.
No, honey, no.
Oh no, good cop,
honey.
bad cop. Here we go.
That would hurt.
Really?
Yeah.
I know. Well, they had a big disclaimer over the ice water too, because if it can lower your blood pressure, and they're telling
heart
people,
attack.
don't do it because you get into what do they call that? They call it something. Of course, they call it something.
Stupid. They call it stupid.
They do call it.
No, they call her
stupid.
stupid.
Uh-huh.
They do call it
like
stupid.
whatever, and like or whatever, like just like.
Some of the most profound stuff she ever said right there.
It redirects blood away from the periphery of the body toward the heart and other vital organs. So you're supposed it's like when you are underwater, diving reflex with air breathing vertebrae. That's what happens. You just drop. So it can lower your blood pressure, heart problems. Get clearance to your doctor before you start dunking your face into ice water or the garbage disposal.
We waited for diving reflex.
That's what happens.
That's what we were waiting for.
Yeah.
Well, I gave you other
Don't you
information
feel enlightened?
too.
Now I feel enlightened.
That was worth
information too.
I'm going to go to my doctor today and say, am I in
Are you a
danger
candidate?
of diving reflex, or can I dunk my head in ice water? What do you think?
Consult your doctor before dunking your face.
Let me tell you about CB Distillery. Does it work? Well, over 90% of doctors said their patients have used CBD to treat some sort of health condition. 9 out of 10 of their patients use CBD, and they talk about how safe and effective it is. CB Distillery is it's great. If you've got a problem with sleeping at night, 90% of CB Distillery customers said they sleep better with it. If you've got nagging discomfort, you got aches and pains, 80% of customers said CBD helps with discomfort after physical activity. If you have not yet discovered the power of CBD, then you're missing out. And if you're thinking, well, yeah, is that stuff that gets you high? No, it is not. Contains no THC. Go to cbdistillery.com, where you order online with no prescription required. And when you enter PAT, you'll get 20% off. Again, enter PAT for 20% off at cbdistillery.com. cbdistillery.com, not available in Idaho, Iowa, or South Dakota.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
So Russia goes into Ukraine and my gas prices go up. Am I right on that?
Mm-hmm.
So to be clear that I have that right. Okay.
Just,
you have it right.
Just so you're clear, actually, gas prices have gone up since January 20th, 2021.
Boy, no kidding.
And this will be the excuse given now.
Yeah,
Blame
this
Putin.
is what they'll use.
Yeah.
And all of the gas price increase up to this point had nothing to do with
Right.
it. Nothing to do with it. But here's something kind of cool. Amazon just suspended Black Lives Matter from its charity platform.
Huh.
They've been kicked off Amazon's charity platform for its failure to disclose where tens of millions of dollars in donations they received nearly 2 years ago have ended up.
Got to have a little documentation.
So Jeff
Just a
Bezos is a
little.
racist, is what I'm taking away from this story thus far.
Interesting. So,
He's
yeah.
not the CEO anymore.
So we gave you tens of millions of dollars. What'd you do with it? Nothing.
None yet.
Nothing. Huh. Amazon Smile, which gives a portion of eligible purchases on the online shopping site to charities, said it had temporarily suspended the group, according to a spokesman or spokesperson. Didn't mean to.
Thank you.
God dang it.
Point of personal privilege.
Go ahead.
In the
Go
hate.
ahead.
I can't.
Please
I
do
can't.
not use gendered language to address everyone.
Okay. That's a good point. Thank you. States have rules for nonprofits and organizations participating in Amazon Smile need to meet those rules. Uh-oh. Amazon plans to hold any funds that have accumulated for them until they're back in compliance. Amazon Smile has raised more than $300 million for charities. Wow. That's pretty good.
So
$300
that
million.
money's just going to go into a little pile, and we'll use that for bonuses when we finally figure out, you know what, let's just go ahead and drop that BLM.
Yeah.
Altogether.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got all that money. Yeah, we'll just move it and set it aside. You know what? Take that home with you.
Now, BLM GNF took in more than $65 million in donations from Thousand Currents, a charity that manages assets of grassroots nonprofits.
Boy, if
And
you gave to them, you're so stupid. You are dumb. If you gave money to BLM
without doing any research into them, just thinking, well, of course I support Black Lives Matter because Black lives do matter. Yeah, that's not the issue here. The issue is the group and the governing body of the group who are Marxists and admitted they were Marxists. And the New York Times and Washington Post will tell you that's a smear and a lie. But here's that exact statement from one of the founders, Patricia Cullors.
Are trained Marxists.
Wait, what?
Are trained Marxists.
Are
trained Marxists.
And then all you had to do was go to their website, and it told you everything you needed to know about Black Lives Matter, who really had very little to do with Black Lives Mattering.
But how are you going to know the website?
Well, because it was like blacklivesmatter.org.
Now, who's going to remember that? Who's going to remember that blacklivesmatter.org?
You could Google it. Black Lives Matter
If you had
website.
access to the internet.
See?
Yeah, that's true.
Look, if you really
Scant
care,
few Americans have access.
if you care about Black lives, then and you want to give money, great. Then give money to a historically black college, or give it to a black focused scholarship fund.
Okay.
Something like that. I don't feel sorry for the people that gave. I feel.
Well, they didn't do any research.
Thank you.
They didn't do any research.
There's going to be no justice in this either for the people that took this money and ran.
Yeah, it's really. And then Cullors
Thanks,
wound up
Whitey.
with buying 4 homes, millions of dollars, like $4.5 or $5 million spent on those 4 homes.
And transferred money to Boyfriend's charity.
All right.
That was up in Canada, right? So there was millions that are just without.
Wait. Canadian bank account, you say?
Yeah, I think it was.
Well, then.
And
freeze it.
They admitted they're Marxists, which is something that, most people don't know, despite the fact that it's easily available information. And we've talked about it many, many times. And the website talked about it.
Sure did.
Not only are they Marxists, they're anti-traditional family, which they said on their website.
Yes, they did.
I mean, what do you have to be beaten over the head with these guys aren't who you think they are? It's crazy. It's just crazy. Critical race theory related ideas now are being found in mandatory programs in 23 of the top 25 U.S. medical schools.
All right.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yes.
Yeah, our med students, I think, need to know about critical race theory, don't you?
Yes, they do.
Med students need to know that white people aren't worth treating.
I was going to say,
when they come into your office, you got to know this is a bad person.
What is the practical application of this? Make
that's a bad
Whitey
person.
wait longer?
Yeah.
In the waiting room?
Yes.
Well, what
Invite
if-
the minorities in and leave Whitey sitting out there in the lobby.
But there's a white guy bleeding out, and
Yeah.
there's a black dude here with a cough.
We'll get to him.
Can I get
if we
to
have time?
No, the white guy is bleeding out.
I know. Here's some gauze. Zip it.
It's just unbelievable.
That's where we're at, man.
The radicalization of medical school education is troubling.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to recognize the health needs of different populations. It's entirely different to inject racial politics into medical care.
Unreal.
Demanding that medical school students become activists is dangerous, said William Jacobson.
They better treat the patients right as how they identify, and they better use their right pronouns, too, while they're treating the patients. I'll tell you that.
If they don't use the right pronouns, we're going to take away their license to practice medicine.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Wow, that's harsh, man.
The school's examination was based on the rankings by U.S. News rankings of America's top medical schools. Of the top 25, 23 had some sort of mandatory training. 21 offered materials by authors Robin DiAngelo and Ibram Kendi, whose books, of course, call for discrimination against whitey.
Mm-hmm.
Training is sometimes targeted, such as a new requirement for a major or department, and sometimes school-wide. The subjects of mandatory training and coursework are worded and phrased differently at individual schools, but use terms including anti-racism, cultural competency, equity, implicit bias, DEI, that's diversity, equity, and inclusion, and critical race theory. Now, when you talk about critical race theory, they're going to say almost every time, we're not teaching critical race theory here. Yeah, that's because they're calling it something else.
Right.
But they're teaching the general theory.
Yes.
And it's despicable that they get away with that. Well, they said they're not teaching it, and if you look,
CRT mentioned.
you're not going to see critical race theory.
Show me where it says critical race theory.
Show me, because it doesn't. Okay. All right. Oh, man. It's agonizing. Meanwhile, a district identifies the person responsible for the racist graffiti found at McClatchy.
Good.
They finally
That's
found
good.
the white racist.
That's good.
The white supremacist, if you will, the KKK member.
I'm glad to hear this.
Who was responsible for the racist graffiti at C.K. McClatchy High School last week. Finally identified him in the Sacramento Unified School District. Last Friday, someone wrote the words white and colored over water fountains at McClatchy High.
Okay.
Meaning, I suppose, that the white kids go to one and the colored kids go to the other.
We're not far away from that again.
The
I'll
vaxxed
tell you
and
that.
the unvaxxed. Or the white.
Yes, thank you. Now we're going to have 4.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hold on. And then the dude water fountain and the female water fountain and then the trans water fountain. How many water fountains are we up to now?
Oh, man.
Check my math.
That's
9?
6.
9. Something there.
Well, they finally caught the
They got the
a-hole.
racist.
Yes.
They got the
The
racist.
racist
Good,
bastard
good,
who's
good.
responsible for it. The district's race and equity monitor, Mark T. Harris, said
I bet that's a cush job.
a black female student confessed to the vandalism. And this whole thing could have been avoided. Cameras caught her in action. So why didn't you look at that, see it was her, and not go through this whole thing? Well, because it was accomplished.
Yes.
The purpose and the intent was already accomplished.
And the groundbreaking for the story is already there. The narrative is already there. It doesn't matter.
Right. That there's racists roaming around here, and we're going to put in new policies because of it.
We already wrote the story, so let's roll it.
Unreal. Harris said, I don't believe those words that were on the water fountains were racist. I do not believe they were hate crime or hate speech. Well, no, not now, because you know it's a black person that did it.
Mm-hmm.
Part of it, quite honestly, is because the admitted perpetrator is a young African-American woman.
Oh, they admit
no
that.
kidding. No kidding.
Okay, there you go. That's only part of it, though. That's,
Okay.
you know. The revelation comes at a time when Sacramento City Unified has been plagued with racial incidents. Similar incidents have occurred within the district over the last several months. Just this week, graffiti was found at Abraham Lincoln Elementary.
Oh.
Featured messages reading KKK, the N-word, and a drawing of a swastika. And when you get to the bottom of those, what do you want to bet?
More whiteys. No.
My guess would be no.
Oh, you're saying
my guess
no.
would be no.
So you're
Yeah.
okay. So
I'm
you're
going the
with
other way on that.
higher odds then.
Yeah.
Oh wow, bigger payout.
Yeah. In a statement, the district said they're working with law enforcement. They hired an attorney focusing on social justice issues.
Mm-hmm.
This is after they found out it's
Right.
not a whitey.
Exactly.
Implemented anti-racism training for staff and are promoting social emotional learning in the hope of preventing future
good.
similar
Give me the
incidents.
title. Give me the title.
Can't have enough of social learning.
The guy. What?
Emotional social learning.
So this is Sacramento School District. Okay.
Yeah, Mark T. Harris. He is the district's race and equity monitor.
I mean, what a job. What a job, man. And he's normally just sitting in his office. He's like, oh, crap, I got to deal with something here. I got to find out what the salary is for that. What do you think? Anybody want to guess?
$60,000. 65,000 a year. Race and equity monitor.
Yeah, I'll say 75.
Okay. I'm not saying that I have the answer right here in front of me.
Yeah,
but,
maybe you don't.
But I'm going to find it
We've
before
already
the end of
guessed,
the show.
so we need to know an answer.
I know. I'll get back to you.
Dang. How many times is this going to happen before they start really cracking down on the people doing it? Because what do you do? What are you trying to have happen here?
Oh, yeah.
You're trying to have hatred develop between white people and minorities. Are you not? I mean, that's clearly
Certainly.
the thing.
I mean, that's what's happening.
Yeah. You're instigating real racial problems here, and you're making them up when they don't exist.
Thank you. Thank you.
It has to stop it, but it's not going to until they pay a price for doing this thing, because it has happened over and over and over
There's
again.
numerous examples on in film and television shows and news reports of things that are that could happen. And I'm like, there's no way it's not going to happen because it's just nobody thinks like that.
Yes, that's right. That's right. These aren't done by whitey because there's very few whiteys who think like that and act that way. I mean, we've gotten past a lot of that stuff. Not everything, of course. We all know that. But this kind of blatant racism is pretty rare. And it usually happens that it's somebody trying to get attention or somebody trying to fire up the hatred.
Well, I failed at finding the salary.
Darn it.
However, I need to get this in here. Tyler Morgan listens to the program here. He tweeted this out. CBS already started blaming the Ukraine crisis last night. Watch this. Here's the headline from CBS News from 11 hours ago. The U.S. economy has been hit with increased gas prices, inflation, and supply chain issues due to the Ukraine crisis. Already. They had that in their drafts, man. They were just waiting for Putin to cross the border.
My gosh. So it's retroactively happening? It's retroactively causing all of those things to have happened over the last year and a half.
I'm just going to have mine.
Okay.
I'm just going to have mine.
Yeah, just eat your macaroon and shut up.
Yeah,
or you could go to KexyCookie.com and order some delicious cookies and just eat yourself into oblivion this weekend. You could do that, right?
I believe I'm up for that.
How's that different from any weekend for Jeffy?
It's kind of a good point.
Pat Gray, only on the Blaze Radio Network.